That's not the case. It's never the case that the SEPs don't reflect an important piece of data that came in on the first day of the meeting.
Rachel?
Check in. Oh, we forgot the light.
Hi, Chair Powell. Rachel Siegel from the Washington Post. Thank you for taking our questions. I'm wondering if we could talk about the projection for the unemployment rate. Why has the Fed raised its unemployment projection? Is it because the models suggest that a higher terminal rate would automatically cause a higher unemployment rate? Or are you seeing signs that the labor market isn't quite as strong as we think it is now? Thanks.
No, it's not about the strength of the labor market. The labor market is clearly very strong. It is more just that, by now, we've continually expected to make faster progress on inflation than we have ultimately, and that's why the peak rate for this year goes up between this meeting and the September meeting. You see the fact that we've made less progress than expected on inflation.
What's going on with it?
That's why that goes up, and that's why
unemployment
goes up because we're having to tighten policy more.
What's going
and so
on with
it
it?
didn't go up by much in the meeting, I don't think, but that's the idea is. Slower progress on inflation, tighter policy, probably higher rates, probably held for longer, just to get to where the kind of
higher rates. Y'all hearing it first from the man, the myth, the legend, Federal Chairman Powell. Let's get back to it real quick. I'm feeling good today. I hope everybody feeling amazing out there. Shout out to Roster Stocks. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
In a situational
in the Discord chat, that is,
lines and unemployment would be more meaningful, I think, than what you see written down there. But why do we think that is the case? So I'll give you a few reasons. First, just is that there's this huge overhang of vacancies, meaning that vacancies can come down a fair amount, and we're
higher rate hikes. Y'all know what that means, right?
People off, so that they'll keep people
Stocks
because
is falling.
I think it feels like we have a structural labor shortage out there where there 4 million fewer people, a little more than 4 million, who are in the workforce available to work than there's demand for workforce. So the fact that there's a strong labor market, means that companies
people
will
working multiple jobs.
It may take longer, but it also means that the costs in unemployment may be less. Again, that we're going to find out empirically, but I think that's a reasonably possible outcome, and you do hear many labor economists believe that it is. So
shout out to the guys, man. Let me see if I get them in the chat. Everybody raising their hand. God damn.
Thank you, Colby Smith with the Financial Times. How should we interpret the higher core inflation forecast for 2023 in the SEP? Does that not then suggest that the policy rate currently forecasted for next year should actually be higher than the 5.1 medium estimate penciled in?
Well, I think that's why one of the reasons it went up was that core came in stronger this year. Yeah, what you see is our best estimate as of today, really, for how high we need to raise rates, to how much we need to tighten policy to create enough, restrictive policy to slow economic activity and soften the labor market and bring inflation down through those channels. That is the estimate, best estimate we make today. And as I mentioned, we'll make another estimate for the next.
Let's not forget they made the worst estimates going into this whole pandemic.
Victoria.
This is a guy that said inflation was going down. Keep that in mind.
Victoria Guida with Politico. I wanted to make sure I understand specifically what's going on in the SEP, because you all expect rates to go higher, but you're also more pessimistic about what inflation is going to look like next year. And I was just wondering, given that we have seen some cooling in inflation, is that primarily because of wage growth, that you expect wage growth to be sort of a headwind?
No, we're going into next year with higher inflation than we
thought. There we go.
So we're actually moving down to the level that we're moving down to next year is still a very large drop in inflation.
Thank you.
From
Let's
where
not act like the party's
well
over.
More than a 1% change in inflation. But remember that the jump off point.
And they've been lying about the inflation numbers.
So we're moving down still by a very large chunk. I don't think the policy's having any less effect. It's just starting from a higher level at the end of 2022. So we're getting down. I believe the median is 3.5%. That's a pretty significant drop in inflation. And where's it coming from?
We have to ask: is that minus food, and housing. Those are the two highest things going up right now. You can't minus that and say we're going down by a significant amount.
And then, the big question is how much will you see from the largest, the 55% of the index, which is the non-housing services sector. And, that's where you need to see, we believe you need to see a better balancing of supply and demand in the labor market so that you have, it's not that we don't want wage increases. We want strong wage increases. We just want them to be at a level that's consistent with 2% inflation. Right now, if you factor in productivity estimates, standard productivity estimates, wages are running, well above what would be consistent with 2% inflation.
Neil.
What are color people in the building?
Thanks. Hi, Chair Powell. Neil Irwin with Axios. Some of your colleagues have been pretty explicit that they can't imagine rate cuts happening in 2023. That's certainly not implied by the SEP. But futures markets have priced in some easing in the back half of next year. What's your view of the likelihood of any kind of rate cuts next year? What circumstances might make that plausible?
Our focus right now is really on moving our policy stance to one that is restrictive enough to assure a return of inflation to our 2% goal over time. It's not on rate cuts.
2% for some
and we think that we'll have to maintain a restrictive stance of policy for some time. Historical experience cautions strongly against prematurely loosening policy. I guess I would say it this way. I wouldn't see us considering rate cuts until the committee is confident that inflation is moving down to 2%.
That means stocks is probably going down right now as we speak.
And you're correct. There are not rate cuts in the SEP for 2023.
Oh, S&P 500. I already know. He just said that. Let's
Steve
watch.
Matthews with Bloomberg. Let me ask you about China. In the last few weeks, China has abandoned its
going down, literally, as he's
COVID
speaking.
Policy and been reopening pretty strongly. I'm wondering if you see that as disinflationary because you're seeing supply chains improve, or inflationary because it obviously brings a lot more demand globally, improves the global outlook for growth and for commodities prices.
And so you're right. Those two things will offset each other. Weaker output in China will push down on commodity prices, but it could interfere with supply chains ultimately, and that could push inflation up in the West. It's very hard to say.
By the way, we're going to be talking about
how
Tim
much
Cook from Apple,
how those two will offset each other, and it doesn't seem.
Tim Cook from Apple bringing the chips to the U.S. Apple chips being made in the U.S. Definitely want to talk about that, so make sure y'all stay tuned in.
We've seen waves of COVID all around the world can interfere with economic activity. China, a very critical manufacturing place for manufacturing and exporting. Their supply chain is very important. And China faces a reopening. They've backed away from their COVID restriction policies. There could be very significant increases in COVID, and we'll just have to see. It's a risky situation. But again, it doesn't seem like it's likely to have material overall effects on us.
Chris.
Hi, Chris Rugaber at Associated Press. Thank you for taking my question.
If you had a question for
wondered if you could comment a bit more about yesterday's inflation report. I mean, it showed inflation cooling in all three of the categories that you laid out at Brookings. Are you confident that you're seeing real progress on getting inflation under control? Are you still worried it could slip into some kind of unentrenched, upward spiral? Thank you.
Right. So the data that we've received so far for October and November, we don't have we have some remaining data to get in November, but they clearly do show a welcome reduction in the monthly pace of price increases. As I mentioned in my opening statement, it will take substantially more evidence to give confidence that inflation is on a sustained downward path. So the way we think about this is this. This report is very much in line with what we've been expecting and hoping for. And what it does is it provides greater confidence in our forecast of declining inflation. As I mentioned, we've been forecasting significant declines in overall inflation and core inflation in the coming year. And this is the kind of reading that it will take to support that. So really this gives us greater confidence in our forecast rather than at this point changing our forecast. In terms of the pieces, we have been expecting goods inflation to come down as supply chain pressures eased. That's happening now. Housing services, as I mentioned, there is good news in the pipeline as long as new housing leases show declining inflation. That will show up in the measure around the middle of next year, so that should help.
Middle of next
year. And the big piece, again, is core services ex housing, which is very important, and we have a ways to go there. You do see some beginning signs there, but ultimately that's that more than half, as I mentioned, of PCE core index, and
that means if you got to renew your lease,
it's very
wait till the middle of next year.
Fundamentally about the labor market and wages. If you look at wages, look at the average hourly earnings number we got with the last payrolls report. You don't really see much progress in terms of our average hourly earnings coming down. Now there may be composition effects and other effects in that, so we don't put too much weight on any one report. These things can be volatile month to month, but we'll be looking for wages moving, down to more normal levels where workers are doing well and ultimately their gains are not being eaten up by inflation.
Well, if you got no control of it, how the hell can you?
Excuse me, Michael McKee from Bloomberg Radio and Television. There's a little bit of a disconnect between the optimistic view you just expressed about the economy and the changes that you've made in the SEP. And I'm wondering if you're reacting to the fact that the markets have loosened financial conditions, or if you feel the Fed may be a little bit behind on inflation, whether the recent disinflation we're seeing is transitory or not, and how this affects the idea of a soft landing if you're projecting just 0.5% growth for this year.
So if I think I got your question. So, one thing is to say is, I think our policies in getting into a pretty good place now. We're restrictive, and I think we're getting close to that level of sufficient. We think sufficiently.
The question is, how high are they willing to go with the rate hikes
to get there? It boils down to how long do we think this process is going to take?
Yeah.
And of course, we welcome these better inflation reports for the last 2 months. They're very welcome, but I think we're realistic about the broader project. So that's all. That's the point I would make. It's, we see goods prices coming down. We understand what will happen with housing services, but the big story will really be the rest of it, and there's not much progress there, and that's going to take some time. I think my view and my colleagues' view is that this will take some time. We'll have to hold policy at a restrictive level for a sustained period, so that two good monthly reports are, very welcome. Of course, they're very welcome, but I think we need to be honest with ourselves that there's, inflation. 12-month core inflation is 6% CPI. That's 3 times our 2% target. Now, it's good to see progress, but let's just understand we have a long ways to go. That's altered percentage.
That's 6%. So we're probably at like a 9%.
The soft landing is no longer achievable?
No, I wouldn't say that.
No,
I don't say that. I would say this, to the extent we need to keep rates higher and keep them there for longer and inflation, moves up higher and higher, I think that narrows the runway. But lower inflation readings, if they persist in time, could certainly make it more possible. So I don't think anyone knows whether we're going to have a recession or not. And if we do, whether it's going to be a deep one or not. It's not knowable. And certainly, lower inflation reports were going to continue for a period of time. Would increase the likelihood of a. So I would put it this way: of a return to price stability that involves significantly less of an increase in unemployment than would be expected given the historical record.
Might be my whip. Hold up.
Ryan.
Hi, Chairman Powell. Brian Chung, NBC News. You warned Americans of pain earlier this year as the Fed hikes rates, but with the Fed now expected to raise rates higher than you thought when you first said that, just wondering where we are in that pain. How would you describe that to Americans if the projections on unemployment find themselves? That would be 1.6 million Americans out of jobs.
I want to hit it.
So the largest amount of pain, the worst pain, would come from a failure to raise rates high enough and from us allowing inflation to become entrenched in the economy so that the ultimate cost of getting it out of the economy would be very high in terms of
we already deep.
employment, meaning very high unemployment for extended periods of time, the kind of thing that had to happen when inflation really got out of control, and the Fed didn't respond aggressively enough or soon enough in a prior episode, 50 years ago.
They need to be at.
So that's really the worst pain would be if we failed to act. What we're doing now is, it's raising interest rates for people, and so people are paying higher rates on mortgages and that kind of thing.
Crazy.
There will be some softening in labor market conditions, and I wish there were a completely painless way to restore price stability.
Nobody should be happy buying a house in this market.
And this is the best we can do. I do think though that and markets are pretty confident. It seems to me that we will get inflation under control, and I believe we will. We're certainly highly committed to do that.
Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Grady Trimble with Fox Business. You've reiterated today, and the committee has reiterated its commitment to that 2% inflation target. I wonder, is there ever a point where you actually reevaluate that target and maybe increase your inflation target if it is stickier than even you think it is?
That's just so changing our inflation goal is just something we're not thinking about. It's not something we're not going to think about. We have a 2% inflation goal, and we'll use our tools to get inflation back to 2%. I think this isn't the time to be thinking about that. I mean, there may be a longer run project at some point, but that is not where we are at all. The committee, we're not considering that. We're not going to consider that under any circumstances. We're going to keep our inflation target at 2%, and we're going to use our tools to get inflation back to 2%.
Think you're saving something.
Nicole.
Thank you, Chairman Powell. Nicole Goodkind, CNN Business. As you monitor wage growth and unemployment data, I wonder if you're paying close attention to a sector or even income level. Like, how do you factor potential exacerbations of inequality into your risk calculations, especially given the K-shaped recovery of 2020?
Nope.
So I would go back to the labor market that we had in 2018, 19, 20. So what that looked like was wage increases for the people at the lowest end of the income spectrum were the largest. The gaps between racial groups and gender groups were at their smallest in recorded history.
Yeah.
All of that because of a tight labor market. A tight labor market which had inflation running, just a tick below 2%, and the economy growing right at its potential. So that seems like something that would be really good for the economy and for the country if we could get back to that. And so that's what all of us want to do. We want to get back to a long expansion where the labor market can remain strong over an extended period of time. That's a really good thing for workers in the economy, and we'd love to get back to that. That's what our goal is.
We'd love to.
There's in the near term, we have to use our tools to restore price stability, but we can't. What we have to think about is the medium and longer term. If you think about it, the country went through a difficult time. I think much more difficult than we can think would happen here. But it really set up our economy for several decades of prosperity. So price stability is something that really pays dividends for the benefit of the economy and the people in it over a very, very long period of time. And so when it is lost for whatever reason, it has to be restored and as quickly as possible, which is what we're doing.
I ain't gonna say it. Where's Obama when you need him?
Are you monitoring?
We do, yes, we absolutely do. We look at, it's our regular practice to talk about unemployment rates by different groups, including racial groups and that sort of thing. We do. We keep our eye on that.
Nancy.
Hi, Nancy Marshall-Genzer with Marketplace. What would you do if the economy slows so much that we enter a recession before we see strong, consistent signs that inflation is slowing? In other words, stagflation.
Ooh, that's a good question, Nancy.
So I don't want to get into too many hypotheticals, but it's hard to deal with hypotheticals. So let me just say that we have to use our tools to support maximum employment and price stability. I've made it clear that right now the labor market's very, very strong. You're at near a 50-year low.
Multiple people working multiple
You're at or above maximum employment. in 50-year low in unemployment. Vacancies are very high. Wages, nominal wages are very high. So the labor market is very, very strong. Where we're missing is on the inflation side, and we're missing by a lot on the inflation side. So that means we need to really focus on getting inflation under control, and that's what we'll do. I think as the economy heals, the two goals come more into play. But right now, clearly the focus has to be on getting inflation down.
Let's see how S&P doing. Oh, they like what he's saying now. Took a little dip.
Thank you, Chairman Powell. Greg Robb from Market Watch. You spoke a little bit ago. You said that the U.S. it looks like we have a structural labor shortage in the economy. Could you expand on that? Talk a little bit more about that. And really, are you talking about getting Congress action on increasing like legal immigration, things like that? Thank you.
So what I meant by that, the structural labor shortage, is if you look at where we are now, as I mentioned, if you just look at demand for labor, you can look at vacancies plus people who are actually working, and then you can take supply of labor by are you in the labor market, are you looking for a job or have a job, and you're more than 4 million people short. We don't see. Despite very high wages and an incredibly tight labor market, we don't see participation moving up, which is contrary to what we thought. So the upshot of all that is the labor market is actually it's 3.5 million people at least smaller than it should have been based on pre-pandemic. Just assume population and reasonable growth and aging of the population. Our labor force should be 3.5 million. More than it is, and that there are lots of easy ways to get to bigger numbers than that if you go back a few more years. So why is that? Part of it is just accelerated retirements. People dropped out and aren't coming back at a higher rate than expected. Part of it is that we lost 500,000 people who would have been close to 500,000 who would have been working who died from COVID. And part of it is that migration has been lower. We don't prescribe. It's not our job to prescribe things, but I think if you ask businesses, pretty much everybody you talk to says there aren't enough people. We need more people. So I tried to identify that in a speech I gave a month ago, but I stopped short of telling Congress what to do because they gave us a job, and we need to do that job.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Let's go, Jennifer. Oh, they got the black cameraman now.
Thank you, Chair Powell. Jennifer Schonberger with Yahoo Finance. You say you expect growth of just 0.5% next year. Given that you've said the process of raising rates and getting inflation back under control will be painful, have you had discussions within the committee and addressed how long and or how deep of a recession you would be willing to accept?
Ooh.
No, I mean what we do is we make our forecasts. And we publish them quarterly. And if you look at those forecasts, those are forecasts for slow growth, for a softening labor market, by which I mean unemployment goes up, but not a great deal.
I understand why people don't.
And you see inflation coming down. You see rates going up a lot. You see inflation coming down. Those are those forecasts, and that's really what they show. We're not. We all, of course, we don't.
You don't know what to say.
Talk about this kind of a recession and that kind of a recession. Yeah. We make those forecasts. The staff runs, and you will see this if you look at the old Teal books, runs alternative simulations of all different kinds at every meeting. And we look at those too, and those will explore different things. But that's just upside and downside scenarios. Of course, that's responsible practice that we've carried on for many decades. But no, we don't. We haven't asked ourselves that question.
Yeah. We'll go to Jean for the last question.
Hi, Jean Young with Market News. I wanted to ask about the SEP again. If you are reaching peak rates around 5% in the first half of next year and inflation starts to decline materially, that would seem to make the real rate gradually more restrictive. Is that something that's built into the projections and into models? Is that something you would want to see?
So we do know that, of course, that's something that we know and we'd see. But as I mentioned, we wouldn't. I wouldn't see the committee cutting rates until we're confident that inflation is moving down in a sustained way. That would be my test. I don't see us as having a really clear and precise understanding of what the neutral rate is and what real rates are, so that would mechanically happen like that. It'll be a test of for cutting rates. I think in the event it'll be a question of, do we actually feel confident that inflation is coming down in a sustained way? Thank you very much.
That was the last question, I think. That was the last question. That's it. That is it, y'all. Let's get back to it, man. I said I wanted to talk about Tim Cook. We are obviously not. Oh, let me make sure. Y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Yeah, y'all can hear me. Well, obviously, the recession's coming, y'all. I mean, I've been said it was here. I think that they've been propping it up this whole time. Oh, hold up. I don't want to hear him talking. So yeah, he said it. Look, everything's down today. Rate hikes are going up to whatever level that they need to. And Paul Volcker, everybody's gonna keep comparing to Paul Volcker. Rate hikes. Let's look at this history for some of y'all who don't know. Holy crap. All right. Ultimately, it took crackdown by cigar chomping Fed Chairman Paul Volcker to break the cycle of rising prices and wages. Volcker slammed the brakes on the economy by raising interest rates to 20%. Tough medicine to prove he was serious about getting inflation under control. This was in the 70s. 20%. Do you know what paying 20% on a mortgage would be? There wouldn't be a house sold. That'd be a housing recession at that point. There would be an actual recession at that point, because people will not. Who the hell is going to pay 20% or anywhere near that on a loan? That would be nuts. This is the guy that went up 20%, and oh no, this is Jimmy Carter. Chairman Powell knows exactly who Paul Volcker is. Holy crap. The 70s must have been a treacherous times. Oil shock, soaring prices for gasoline, meat prices also. So this would be a good year to kind of. This is a good 70s kind of a good range to look at. But it's what we have. We have higher gas prices, higher food prices, right? Archie Bunker was reduced to eating meatless spaghetti. Look at these lines out here, man. Thankfully, we don't have these lines. Okay. Spending heavily on both the Vietnam War and the... All right, so we have to keep in mind, because we are supplying the Ukraine and Russia war. So we're spending billions of dollars over there. So maybe we might not be directly in war, allegedly. This is all alleged, right? We might not be directly in war, but these are literally, it's like a spitting image of the 70s, man. They say history repeats itself. Look at Gerald Ford declared inflation public enemy number one. What was Chairman Powell saying? Inflation is what we're focusing on, and we're going to do whatever we can to bring it down. Wow, 20% would be insane. Okay. So a lot of people are saying, just like they said in the 70s, at some point this dam is going to break and the psychology is going to change. I feel like a lot of people have been saying by 1983 it retreated. Holy crap. It was a painful correction. Nearly 4 million people lost jobs and back-to-back recessions in the early 80s. But for the next 4 decades, inflation was not a serious problem in the U.S. So maybe we do have to just... the annual inflation rate hit 9.1%. Does that sound familiar? The highest since the early 80s. This is... Man. Let's see how the S&P doing right now. We still got an hour of trading left, just about 30 minutes. Oh, I guess they're people are liking it. I guess people are liking it. Let's see what the trend is. It's still a downtrend. It's kind of like a range. Downtrend-ish range. Nah, downtrend. Downtrend to S&P 500. Obviously, this is just a standard S&P 500. I mean, maybe some of your stocks are doing worse. All right, let's talk about, because, you know, we all knew that was coming. I've been saying we were in a recession. They've been propping it up. Tim Cook at Apple. Let me I want to make sure let me record this so we can make sure I get this on the shorts. Make sure we get the shorts for the short HINANCE news. Tim Cook says Apple will use built-in. Well, let me start that over. Tim Cook says Apple will use chips built in the U.S. at Arizona factory. This is gonna. I love this, but this is gonna be scary, man. American labor is just not it. It's just not something that we're good at. We're expensive. We're lazy. But Tim Cook announced Apple will buy U.S. made chips, microchips, at a factory operated by Taiwan Semiconductor. For those of y'all don't know, that's the leading semiconductor company in the world. This is the company that China is fighting over. This is why they want the little island of Taiwan. Let's keep it a fact. So yes, do y'all remember when Nancy Pelosi traveled to Taiwan? Y'all don't remember that? And I think it has to do with this. Hold on. She had a special suitcase with her. Nancy travel. She had a suitcase that she brought back with her. Let's see. And I think China knew what was going on, but they couldn't prove it, so they couldn't shoot anything down. I think she had the chips on deck. Like, she had the chips to... We couldn't create a factory here without the main components, and I think she had the main components. Let me see. But I think she was, like, escorted by, like... airplanes and all that. Yeah. See, I don't want to hear them talking about it. I want to see. I want to see if they show her like moving around, or they show like how she flew in. Cause they said she had a suitcase with her. Look, it's hella protected. They said she had seen as a statement. America stands with Taiwan. Yeah, what do you think she brought back from Taiwan? Let's see if anybody got some suitcases in their hand. We finna crack this case. Anybody got a suitcase in their hand? No. No suitcases. I don't see no suitcases. Hold on. Yeah, show me the goods, man. This is why China was pissed. And she got a bag in her hand right there? Oh, why they keep showing? She saved the day. She risked her life to pick up the materials needed. The special materials. Why else would you travel in this area when we know that China was running drills around the island? They were running drills around the island. I wish we could see that. So I have a good reason to believe this is the type of jets that they were probably flying next to her to protect the chips or whatever the components. I can't say, I wasn't there. But look how close that they were to China. Hella disrespectful. So she would only risk she would probably only risk her lives for something very important. You're not going to risk your life just to go talk to them over there. Nah, you went and picked up the bag. Look how close you finna risk your life. Come on. Let's break this all down. You finna risk your life being hey, why? I mean, I don't see how it's not part of their country. But obviously we finna back them up because we love the chips. So I think that Nancy Pelosi risked her life going here, right? Hold on. My brother calling me, but we on stream right now. Call you later. Y'all think Nancy Pelosi risked her life getting this close to China when they running drills around this damn thing? Let me see if they show some of the boats and stuff, how they be running drills and stuff. It's all got to do with chips. Look. They got to go do a freaking ad. They got to go do. This is real stuff because this all has to do with technology. So a lot of people be like, what does this have to do with anything? Like, look how close. This has to do with phone chips, computer chips, the future of technology. Anybody get a bag? Anybody get a bag? I don't see no bags. So she risked her life for the future of technology, man. We got to respect it. We over here approving weapon sales to them. Like, y'all see these numbers? First arms sales to Taiwan. Like, we selling billions and millions of dollars worth. I guess that's bringing in income, so we'll take it. 100 M's. 100 M&M's. The fact that they're making it seem like this is where, like, Hong Kong's right here, Shanghai's right here. Why are you circling this all the way up here? These are like the mountains. They're making it seem like these are the headquarters by circling China all the way over here. Nah, man, Hong Kong right here, Shanghai right here. These are some of the richest cities right here. That's like as close as New York to Connecticut or some shit. Manhattan to Brooklyn. No, that's definitely not that close. But yeah, I think I'm going to say that Nancy Pelosi risked her life. Shout out to Nancy, man. Hey, did y'all see her? They ran into their crib, man. Hold on. We're going to get back to this chip. Nancy Pelosi house husband. Pelosi husband attacked. What we know about the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. Listen, I wouldn't doubt it if the New York Times fake news, but it's all right. We're gonna underwent surgery for a skull fracture after he was assaulted at the couple's home in San Francisco. Assaulted, attacked in their home. What happened? Violently assaulted with a hammer. I wonder what the burst of Pelosi just hold 2:30 in the morning. Them drillers came through at 2:30 in the morning. Intruder grappling over a hammer. Listen. Listen. Hold on. Okay, so the intruder ripped the hammer out of Mr. Pelosi's grip and violently assaulted him with it. In front of the officers? Huh? Wait. So what was... I'm confused. Okay, Miss Pelosi, who called 911 from a bathroom after an intruder broke through a back door of the home. He had veiled conversation with police dispatcher, who recognized the situation as dire, bringing a rapid police response. Okay. David DePap, 42, was charged. Assaulting a relative of federal official. What was the motive? Attempted murder. Did he... Residential burglary, elder abuse, deadly weapon. Oh, Mr. DePap was looking to interrogate Mr. Pelosi, who was not home at the time, on an unspecified political matter. If she told the truth, he would let her go. If she But if she lied, he intended to break her kneecaps, forcing her to be wheeled into Congress as a lesson to other Democrats. Oh, he was trying to interrogate Miss Pelosi, showed up, Mr. Pelosi was there. I wonder what the political matter was. Was this after she flew to, let's see, let's match the dates here. When did Nancy Pelosi travel to Taiwan? I didn't even spell Taiwan right, Jesus. August. Okay, she visited in August and October. Mr. DePape was trying to pull up at 2:30 in the morning to see what the business was. Pulled up. He seen Mr. Pelosi, 80-year-old, probably hanging over the bed, in the bathroom. Who knows why he ain't had a blicky on him, but that's a discussion for another day. These are the same people who got millions of dollars with the stock market through just cheating. What type of house? Let me see the Nancy Pelosi San Francisco home. I mean, you gotta love the internet. You can see everything nowadays. Let's see what this house look like. See what the San Francisco home look like. This what the house look like? They got cameras everywhere. Ain't no pictures of the house? Nah, we want to see the house. Y'all gotta have pictures of the house. Damn, that house is right off a side street. Who the hell? Ain't got no gates. No nothing, huh? This is their house? Nah, this must be like an apartment condo complex or something. Man, this thing look like a facility. Ain't no way. Bruh. This look like a New York housing projects. They got 3 floors. Nah, this must be like a condo. This must be like a we need another view. We need a video. Ain't no way that's their house. DePape was trying to see what the business was. Holy crap, they live in a compound in San Francisco. He was trying to see what was up. He was trying to stay for the night. What's up? Is this thing ever going to load? Oh, hold on. This is a good one. This is the home captured on security. So let me see it, man. I'm trying to see the home captured on security. Now that we're trying to see the security footage. Oh, hold on. Here we go.
A brutal assault on Pelosi's 82-year-old husband, Paul, has sent shockwaves across the political world as threats against elected officials have skyrocketed. CBS's Jonathan Vigliotti has the latest.
You got the ladder down there?
We're now learning that the break-in at Nancy Pelosi's home was captured by security cameras set up outside the house. Sources tell CBS News they're part of a network of roughly 1,800 cameras that the U.S. Capitol Police can access at any time. Meanwhile, details about what happened inside are coming into sharper focus. According to this criminal complaint, alleged assailant David DePape allowed Paul Pelosi to use the bathroom, where he grabbed his phone, called 911, and put it on speaker. DePape got agitated. Pelosi tells the 911 operator that the man told him to put the phone down and just do what he says. The dispatcher then asked for DePape's name, and he responded, "My name is David."
Obviously, he doesn't know who the male is, but he advised that his name is David.
A terrifying series of events continue to unfold. DePape trying to restrain Pelosi. Pelosi trying to grab the hammer. When police arrived, Pelosi could not maintain his grip. DePape took the hammer, lunged at Pelosi, striking him in the head at full force, knocking Mr. Pelosi unconscious for about 3 minutes, waking up in a pool of his own blood. DePape later told officers it was a suicide mission. DePape allegedly named other targets, including several prominent state and federal politicians and their relatives.
I anticipate a lot more violence so long as conspiracy theories about our election, about our democracy, are able to thrive
this story don't even make
unopposed in our online spaces.
Homeboy, hold on.
Talent David DePape.
Homeboy. See, that's why sometimes these stories are hard to believe. It was a suicide mission, and they didn't kill you. You had the man. You let the man use the bathroom. You let an 80-year-old man use the bathroom by himself. Y'all see this house though? It's a compound. Why is there a ladder here when you could just walk up to these stairs? Story a little suspect.
We're now learning that the break-in at Nancy Pelosi's home
wouldn't you use the ladder to get up here, not like down here?
is captured by security cameras set up outside the house. Sources tell CBS News they're part of a network of roughly 1,800 cameras that the U.S. Capitol Police can access at any time. Meanwhile, details of...
Y'all see this house? Bruh, this must be a condo, bruh. It must be multiple condos. It must be condo on this side, condo in the middle. There's just no way. There is no way this was the entire house. And, I mean, they're keeping it pretty, I mean, if they just got this whole section, they're keeping it pretty discreet for people who be insider trading in the stock market.
What happened inside are coming into sharper focus. According to this criminal complaint, alleged assailant David DePape allowed Paul Pelosi to...
Mr. Pelosi asked to use the bathroom. Hold on, I need to see if we can read this a little bit better.
Paul Pelosi.
Okay. Standing in the bathroom, Mr. Pelosi grabbed his phone, turned it on. So his phone was turned off? Put the phone on speaker. Watching Mr. Pelosi, defendant stood holding a large hammer and the zip ties. He was waiting for Nancy. Man, it's 2:30 in the morning. What time did he think she was finna show up? They would have to wait because his wife...
to use the bathroom.
Hold on, I can't see nothing with this thing here. Alright, what is this? I don't even know if I can get...
Where he grabbed his phone, called...
Mr. Pelosi...
911 and put it on speaker.
Here we go. Still trying to escape from the defendant, Mr. Pelosi asked to use the bathroom. Defendant allowed him to do so. You let an 80-year-old man that you captured to use the bathroom? Listen, man. He ain't shit his pants by then. Mr. Pelosi stood up and walked to the bathroom where his phone was charging. His phone was charging in the bathroom. Huh? Hold on. His phone was charging in the bathroom? Who charges their phone in the bathroom overnight? Am I tripping? Okay. Standing in the bathroom, Mr. Pelosi grabbed his phone, turned it on, and called 911 and put the phone on speaker. Watching Mr. Pelosi, defendant stood about 3 feet away, still holding the large hammer and zip ties. So he hadn't zipped him, tied him up. He watched him go to his phone, turn it on. Y'all know how long it takes for a phone to turn on. Turned on the phone and watched him dial 911. I'm sorry. While holding a large hammer and zip ties. This don't even sound right. What mission was he on? He might as well have ran up into the White House or something. During the 911 call itself, Mr. Pelosi said that there was a gentleman there waiting for his wife. Oh, so he literally just was standing there. Maybe this is what he wanted. Nancy Pelosi to come back. It was 2:30 in the morning. What time you think she was finna come back at? It wasn't. She's not like she was out on a nightcap or something. It's not like she was out partying with the girls. She was partying in a whole nother city, a whole nother state. If she ain't home by 2:30 in the morning, she's an 80, 70-year-old woman. What? She ain't in the area. But waiting for his wife. But Mr. Pelosi said they would have to wait because his wife would not be coming back for about a day. Mr. Pelosi could see defendant gesturing and heard defendant tell him to get off the phone. Okay. Mr. Pelosi told the dispatcher that he did not need police, fire, or medical assistance. Huh? Bruh, this is the stuff that I feel like don't be real. Cause what? Huh? If you went in there to intimidate Nancy Pelosi and let's say you accidentally didn't realize she wasn't in town. You didn't do enough research. You didn't realize she was in town. And we're going to get back to the chips because I know this all relates. Like, for me, this all relates, right? Things correlate. The chips coming to the U.S., her taking the trip to Taiwan, this little made-up attack. Well, allegedly, I can't say, there was a victim involved. He was knocked unconscious. If you done showed up to the crib and accidentally realized she isn't home, the person you're there for is not home, you got her husband there, wouldn't you just bust the move and get out of there? Like abort mission? Freedom?
DePape got agitated. Pelosi tells the 911 operator that the man told him to put the phone down and just do what he said.
Okay. Do what he says. The dispatcher then asked for the man's name, and the man responded, "My name is David." When the dispatcher asked who David is, Mr. Pelosi said, "I don't know." But David said, "I'm a friend of theirs." Mr. Pelosi then confirmed with the dispatcher that he did not know the man. He's telling me I am being very lazy, so I've got to stop talking to you, okay? What? You sound like a damn movie. He's telling me I'm being very lazy, so I've got to stop talking to you, okay? The dispatcher then asked for the man's name. Mind you, he's 3 feet away from this guy. He's there to interrogate Miss Pelosi. The dude responded, "My name is David. I'm David, I'm here. I'm a friend of theirs." While also watching, Mr. Pelosi confirmed to the dispatcher that he did not know the man. He's telling me I'm being very late. Like, what the hell does that even have to do? This is when I think this stuff is fake. He's telling me I'm being very lazy. I'd have to hear the call. But even if I heard the call, it still could be plotted. When the dispatcher offered to stay on the line with Mr. Pelosi to make sure everything is okay, Mr. Pelosi said, "No, he wants me to get the hell off the phone. He hasn't attacked you yet, but he wants you to get the hell off the phone." I'm telling you, this is all going to correlate with the chips coming to the U.S. Promise you. He wants me to get off. He wants you to get off the phone. He got a hammer in his hand and zip ties. He's 3 feet away from you, and he wants you to get off the phone. Your phone was charging in the bathroom at 2:30 in the morning. The call ended. Based on her training and what she heard, dispatcher Heather Greaves, shout out to her, issued a priority well-being check. Wait. After the call, defendant said that he was tired and needed to sleep. What? Bruh, this can't be real.
The dispatcher then asked for DePape's name, and he responded,
This can't be real.
"My name is David."
Our investigators just know who the man is, but he advised that his name is David.
A terrifying series of events continued to unfold. DePape trying to restrain Pelosi. Pelosi trying to grab the hammer. When police arrived,
Bro, an 80-year-old man versus a 40-year-old man for strength? Nah, bro, stop playing.
He could not maintain his grip.
Hey, the officer asked again, what is going on? But Mr. Pelosi could not maintain his grip on the hammer. Wait, they're back on the phone? I thought they just said that they ended the conversation. A second later, defendant wrenched the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi. Wait. Who got the hammer? I thought the defendant had the hammer. Now Mr. Pelosi, this 80-year-old man, got the hammer. This must be the strongest 80-year-old man I've ever seen, ever heard of. This is like Superman 80. Immediately stepped back. He hit the Euro step and hold on. Okay. He wrenched the hammer from Mr. Pelosi, immediately stepped back and lunged, striking Mr. Pelosi in the head at full force with the hammer. Why would he step back? Why would he step? Oh, I guess it's one of those. Ha! One of those. How would y'all do it? You have the hammer. If I took it from you, I might just go like that. Why would I step back? He wrenched it out of his hand, stepped back, lunged at Mr. Pelosi, striking him in the head. Full force with the hammer. And I don't mean to be inconsiderate. This is, Mr. Pelosi is a victim. I don't wish this on anybody, but this story is just a little off, if you ask me. Okay, knocked him unconscious. The officers rushed into the house. So were they outside? Tackled the defendant and disarmed him. Mr. Pelosi remained unresponsive for about 3 minutes, waking up in a pool of his own blood. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that crime scene.
DePape took the hammer, lunged at Pelosi, striking him in the head at full force, knocking Mr. Pelosi unconscious for about 3 minutes, waking up in a pool of it.
While off the scene, Walms asked defendant if there were any more suspects. Defendant said that he acted alone. Defendant then looked at the glass door and said that, I need to get access to these papers.
Own blood. DePape later told officers it was a suicide.
Later recovered defendant's bags outside the damaged glass door. Homie had his bags on site? Inside there was another hammer. What was he building, Bob? A laptop and more bags of zip ties? Motherfucker was setting up shop. He was setting up shop to work on a project or something. Without questioning the defendant, without questioning officers, it's kind of blurry. Why would they blur that out? Without any questioning, defendant told officers and medics at the scene, I'm sick of the insane something level of lies. Insane effing level of lies. Let's put some let's put some imagination. I'm sick of the insane level of lies coming out of Washington, D.C. I'm sick of the insane effing is really insane shitty level of lies, insane effing, I'm going to go with effing, level of lies coming out of Washington, D.C. I came here to have a little chat with his wife. Mind you, he didn't stake the place out clearly, because if he staked the place out, he would have realized she wasn't home. So what kind of suicide mission is this? I didn't really want to hurt him, but this was a suicide mission. Huh? I didn't really want to hurt him. I feel like this is a script. Let me script this one out. Okay. I'm DePape. Speaking to the officers, I think. And the medics. I didn't really want to hurt him. But this was a suicide mission. But I didn't bring no guns with me. I just brought my bags, my hammers, and a laptop. And I left them outside, actually. So, what type of threat is you really bringing to the cops? They walking in with 9s and Glocks and heavy artillery. What type of suicide mission you think this finna be? You ain't got no guns. You ain't never, there has been no mention of a gun while DePape was speaking to And I hope I'm not getting too off topic here, but I feel like I gotta break this stuff down so people can realize what's going on. This seemed like a script. You on a suicide mission, but you ain't bring no suicide weapons. You brought 2 hammers, left one in the bag, and your laptop and some zip ties. But you wasn't trying to hurt nobody. What was you trying to do then? I'm not going to stand here and do nothing, even if it costs my life. Hurting him was not my goal. I told him before I attacked him that he's escalating things and I will go through him if I have to. This is the most contradicting statement ever, bro. This is like a movie statement. Bro, which one is it? Did you want to hurt him? Well, you hurt him. So you can't say you didn't want to hurt him. You were 3 feet away from him. You let him go to the bathroom. Right? You let him go to the bathroom. Listen, I ain't never kidnapped nobody. But I done watched enough movies. That if I were playing this role, I would have told him to piss in his pants. Oh, you want to go to the bathroom? Pee in your pants, bro. You let him turn on a cell phone. Listen, sometimes I don't even have patience my damn self to wait for my cell phone to turn on when I reset it. You let him turn on a cell phone and call 911, and you was speaking with the dispatcher. And you saying you're not going to stand here and do nothing even if it costs your life. Hurting him was not my goal. But what the hell was your goal, man? We're going to get back on track very soon, y'all. I told him before I attacked him that he's escalating things. Bruh, you done broke into the man's house and he's escalating things? This shit ain't even funny. This is sad. This is like a movie script. This is a movie script, man. You could have killed him. Get a skull, repair a skull fracture. Y'all know how weak elderly people are.
Side mission. DePape allegedly named other targets.
Oh, hold on. We got other targets. My bad. Defendant not willing to surrender. Yanked the thing. He yanked the thing away from Mr. Pelosi with full force. They had to repeat that again. When asked if he had any other plans, defendant named several targets, including a local professor, several prominent state and federal politicians, and relatives of those state and federal politicians. So homie had a whole plan to do these potential, I don't even know what to call it. It's not it's a home invasion, but it's an attack. It's definitely a physical attack, but I wonder who else was on the list. It's quite interesting. What does a local professor have to do with it? Yo, son started thinking about his grades in college. And was like, hold up. We finna do this. We finna add everybody to the list, man. We finna do this, man. We finna have several targets. I gotta get that professor that gave me a D- when I was falling asleep in the front of class, that politician class. And they have a picture of him recording in the beginning of the video. They got a picture of him recording what it looks like to be outside of some type of state house. Maybe he was a cameraman.
Including several prominent state and federal politicians and their relatives.
I anticipate a lot more violence so long as conspiracy theories about our election, about our democracy,
are able
to thrive unopposed in our online spaces.
And today, the Pelosi family is scheduled to view police body camera footage of the attack. Security cameras around the home were not being monitored at the time because
security cameras weren't being monitored. All right, so let's go back. All right, so now that we know that, right, let's talk about China saying they want time. They say that they will do whatever it takes, whatever type of military drills they need to run to take this island back so that this island is under the China regime. Taiwan produces some of the most important semiconductors in the world. These are chips for your phones, laptops, electric vehicles. Listen, it goes on and on how important these chips are. Nancy risked her life. These are some true Americans right here. True Americans risking their lives for the people. So then we bring it to last week. Tim Cook says Apple will use chips built in the U.S. So they're building factories. Taiwan Semiconductor, they are allowing this company. Why not? We're not going to build our own company. No. Why would we do that? Why would we build our own company? No. We're going to send Nancy Pelosi to go pick up the sauce. We're going to escort her with fighter jets just to make sure China know we ain't playing. Right? Then we finna have Apple announce that they're buying U.S.-made chips. All right, let's go down. Cook said Apple would buy processors made in new Arizona factory. Arizona is a very hot spot right now for anybody looking to move in new places. Okay. And now, thanks to hard work of so many people, these chips can be proudly stamped made in America. This is an incredibly significant moment. Hold on. Need y'all to see that. Now, thanks to the hard work of Nancy Pelosi and the government by sneakily visiting Taiwan in the midst of the... I don't think China was ready to go to war at that moment. I think we struck while the pan was hot. It was a very smart move by us. We got to give it to us. We strike when the pan's hot. I've learned that about our government. Okay, the chip factories... The chip factories will be owned and operated by Taiwan Semiconductor, the biggest foundry company with over half of the global market share. Sounds like a monopoly to me. Produces the most advanced processors, including chips in the latest iPhones, iPads, Macs. They forgot to mention vehicles, 5G technology. We really needed this. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, no matter who owns the factories, we needed to keep them in a safe place. But this goes to question, will that leave us to be subject to attacks now? Because these factories are so important. All right, the plants will be capable of manufacturing 4 nanometer. I don't know about this stuff. Chips, nanometer chips, 4 nanometer and 3 nanometer chips that are used for advanced processors such as Apple's A series and M series. M series is the new stuff that Apple got. And NVIDIA graphics processor. Actually, I need to get a gaming computer, man. So this is probably going to help. Today is only the beginning. This sounds like such a finesse. Today's only the beginning. This is only the first finesse of many. Huge move on our end, though. We're combining Taiwan Semiconductor's expertise with the unrivaled iniquity of American workers. Holy crap. Listen, we are investing in a stronger, brighter future. We are planting our seed in the Arizona desert. And Apple, we are proud to help nurture its growth. So Apple is obviously being protected by the government now. Good to know as a stock investor, as a stockholder in Apple. So if you're looking to park some money, listen, I'm not a financial advisor, but when you got the government backing Apple like that, a lot of people wondering where the Apple growth was at. You got the government backing Apple. Why don't they bring drug manufacturers? Hey, that's not the fight that they want. That's not the battle that they want to fight right now. They don't want to fight the drugs right now. Right now, they want to focus on the chips because the chips is the most important. You can't fight too many battles at the same time. We're already funding Ukraine, allegedly. I don't know. Do your own research. So we're funding a alleged war. I don't know. Do your own research. We're probably funding other additional wars. Do your research. I don't want to be the one to say it. So this one could have got very risky. I think we struck so quick that China didn't even know what to do. I'm not sure that they were ready for the plan. Although they were doing drills around Taiwan, they weren't ready to strike on us. So, but if they knew what she was carrying and bringing over, if they knew that they were going to do this, they probably would have struck. They probably would have took their chances, because this is about world dominance. This is about the future of technology, and we are not trying to be behind in the future of technology. We already don't have the monetary thing together, obviously, with no control of inflation. So this was a chess move. This was a chess move to protect the king and the queen. And right now the drug manufacturers, just something not that, I think that they make so much money on the back end that, bro, they can care less, man. Did y'all just see? Actually, let's take a sidebar and let's answer that. I'm gonna answer that. For sure, insulin is very important. But let's go to. Let me just show y'all CVS and Walgreens. Settlement. This was a recent settlement. I'm glad that you asked about the drugs, right? A recent settlement, right? They don't even care about insulin, right? They don't care. They would rather charge the American people whatever. But there are some great companies working on the insulin thing, and I hope that they get to it. I really do hope they get to it, because that is a very, very hot topic, and it's, health is wealth. So hopefully they do get to that. But this goes to show you why they're not worried about the health industry right now, because they're forcing these conglomerate companies to pay out. Who are they paying out this settlement to? $10 billion of settlement, and we still got junkies in every major city. Who is they paying that out to? State and local tribal opioid remediation and abatement programs. Okay, this is not the solution. Let's see if they say where the funds go to. The funds will be distributed to states, local governments, and federally recognized tribes. Huh? Federally recognized tribes. What's a federally recognized tribe? We got to be very mindful with some of the wording that gets used here. How many Native American tribes are federally recognized? Okay, so they tried to kill the indigenous people allegedly through opioids? Holy crap, that's another dark hole I don't even want to go down. Okay. CVS is paying $4.9 billion to states and political subdivisions. Okay, so the politicians are making money. Now the politicians are making money off of this. States are making money. It's never getting to the street. By the time the pot of gold gets to the streets, all there is food left for them. Pharmacy chains have also agreed to implement robust controlled substance compliance programs. I mean, this is sad, man. This literally, who was in charge? Like this, they let the stuff get out of control, and then they just say, "Yo, listen. Once the people find out, once the death comes, just pay out $10 billion, run it through the system. We'll get paid again. Run it through the system. We'll get paid again, and then with the crumbs, we'll distribute it in the streets. We'll give the people free food. We'll open up a shelter that only can house 50 people, even though there's 1,000 people sitting outside." This is where we're at in America. So that was a little sidebar. That's why they're not. I don't think that they want to solve that health problem, but I do agree with Calmly. Shout out to Calmly. I don't think that they want to solve that problem. Great questions. Maybe we'll solve those one day. I think it's going to take a whole different level of So back to Tim Cook being backed by the government to produce these mega chips. I don't think this will be the first of many. I mean, Tim Cook said it. Today is only the beginning. Excuse me. Apple had to buy all the advanced chips from overseas. Now they're going to bring more of their supply chain home. I can only assume that things are going to get more expensive for Apple products if we're using American labor. We heard Federal Chairman Powell state today that wages are high. Who is you finna get to work? Do y'all know what type of chemicals that they use in them? Oh, hold up. Like we can do this for days, man. We can do this for days. Chip chemicals killing. We could do this for days. These chemicals will give you like leukemia and stuff like that. Let's see. I was watching something on Vice the other day. Vice, chip chemicals giving leukemia. Oh, was it it was Samsung. Vice doc. See, when you start to look for stuff, now they don't want to show you. There was a documentary on Vice that I watched. Look. They don't even want to look. Chip. Let's see. Samsung chip chemicals give leukemia. There was a documentary I watched. Listen. Who have fallen ill. This is 8 years ago. Hold on. This one's let's do something a little bit more frequent. I just want y'all to see this. Y'all know they like cutting off the tree.
Dramatic improvements.
Right? So they're gonna bring this chip factory to America, right? Wonder how much they're gonna have to pay people.
When we talk about semiconductor manufacturing, we might bring up images in our head of massive fabs, yellow clean rooms, and people walking around in bunny suits. That mental image might lead us to presume semiconductor manufacturing to be this squeaky clean endeavor.
It's not that it's clean, they're working with
we really mean
chemicals.
clean in the sense that we want to keep the product free of particles. We really have no idea what is going on in those fabs for the people working and living around there. These companies use immense amounts of toxic and carcinogenic materials.
Immense amounts of toxic carcinogenic. I gotta look this up. Immense toxic carcinogenic cars. Oh, he's better. Listen, I didn't win any spelling bees. Carcinogenic hazards. What is that even? Okay. Can increase the risk of cancer. A few well-known carcinogenics are asbestos, nickel, cadmium, radon, vinyl chloride, benzidine, and benzene. So this is the stuff that they're bringing to America. This is to save America. Let's continue.
To make the beautiful chips that power our machines. And if we were to simply look at the historical record, then there is reason for concern.
We're going based off stats.
I have been thinking about this for a while now. In this video, I want to look at one of the big reasons why semiconductor manufacturing left the Silicon Valley. It is a dangerous, toxic process that can cause an immense amount of harm to both people and the environment. But before all that, I want to talk about what I've been recently doing with the Asianometry newsletter. A few weeks ago, I study the health and environmental effects of modern semiconductor manufacturing.
This is real, man. This is what they bring
because
to
its
America.
practitioners are extremely secretive.
But it's the same
Thus,
technology.
Specifics vary.
Who's finna sign up?
But all wafer fabrication facilities perform a few core processes. They are deposition.
I love it.
Resist coating, light exposure.
I love it that they're bringing it to the U.S. But man, who's finna work? Is you
washing.
finna work? You signing up to
These
work in this factory?
processes are repeated over and over again until the chips are at the desired level of sophistication. Feel free to stop and Google them first if you don't know what they are.
They probably finna pay people
hundreds of chemical compounds are used in these processes. One study of 2 Korean semiconductor memory facilities found.
Let's say they paid people $100,000 to work at this job. $100,000, you get to dress up in a white suit, you get to dip chips in liquids and toxic chemicals all day long, right? $100,000, inflation going up by 9%. The first factory is supposed to be built by 2024, right? So by the time we get from here to 2024, we could be in a recession. Inflation could be up another 9, 10, 15, 20%. Who knows? They're probably lying to us about the exact amount anyways, allegedly. And this is just keeping it real. $100,000 isn't going to be, is not even is going to be equivalent to $50,000 maybe by 2024. So you're going to be risking your life to get cancer because you think of the $100,000 number. It sounds like a lot, but by the time we get there,
over 400 chemicals.
All right, I ain't got to do more. Y'all can search this one. We're going to get back to Apple and the chips coming because I still think there's opportunity for investors to, and allegedly, or I'm not a financial advisor, so you got to do your own research. Still think there's opportunity in Apple right now. But y'all can search this and watch this little 15-minute video. I've done enough research on the semiconductor health and cancer problems. So I'll let y'all rock on that. I showed y'all enough. You ain't got to go too deep. So Cook tweeted on Tuesday that Apple would be the site's largest customer. Man, this is interesting. Currently does most of its manufacturing in Taiwan. I bet you that will change as soon as China takes over. Okay, which has raised questions from the U.S. and European lawmakers. So, hey, maybe this was like a joint decision. Yo, we got to get these chips out of there, man. We got to get the main chips. You know, there's probably like a heart. There's like probably like a main component, a heart chip they had to bring over here. You know, Nancy threw it on the suitcase, hopped on the private jet, was escorted by fighter jets. So China couldn't even do nothing. They didn't even know what's going on. China's over there thinking that they having tea with Nancy Pelosi the whole time. She's bringing us the product we need to build this factory over here in the U.S. Okay, so this I didn't know. Chip companies such as NVIDIA and Apple design their own chips but outsource the manufacturing. So they design it and they outsource the manufacturing. And now we'll be manufacturing in the U.S. Okay. Okay, the factories, and this is why I think Apple, right here, this main sentence, the factories in Arizona will be partially subsidized by the U.S. government. Biden signed off on the CHIPS and Science Act into law, which includes billions of dollars in incentives for companies that build chip manufacturing capabilities on U.S. soil. Let's go back to Apple stock, y'all. Hey, in Apple stock, you get dividends too, just so y'all know. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just saying, keep that in mind. You get dividends. A lot of people was worried about where the growth for Apple would come from. It's right here. It's right here. We've done a lot of range in here. I think that by 2025, I don't want to throw no numbers out there, but by 2025, listen, it depends on what they pay the people too. Because this might not be the most profitable move. It might have just been a move we had to do. But obviously it's being subsidized by the U.S. government, billions of dollars. So Apple's going to benefit on this because they probably won't be paying a high rate just because it's subsidized. So they probably won't have to. What they'll be paying the people, $100,000 to work in these toxic environments, it probably won't affect them because now you can come out of that money. The company can still be profitable. All right. We can definitely get in the 200 range, high 200 range by 2024. So that's something to look forward to, right? Let's see. Revenue's up 8%. Operating expense up. Net income up. Net profit margin down. Earnings per share. I mean, it's a good company. It's a good company to look into to own. Like I said, they're backed by the government now. Billions of dollars, right? There's incentives to build the stuff on U.S. soil. Okay. Taiwan Semiconductor said last week that it would spend $40 billion on the 2 Arizona plants. It's $20 billion each, I'm assuming. Unless they mean $40 billion each. If they didn't say $40 billion each, so I'm assuming $20 billion each. 40 divided by 2. Got 2 plants coming. The first plant is in Phoenix, expected to produce chips by 2024. Damn. Have we ever built a factory that fast? We might have. The second plant will open in 2026, according to the Biden admin. Let's see, because obviously there's a lot of political stuff going on. If a Republican comes into office in 2024, we have to see. I'm sure they'll be able to cut funds off of this if they need to or if they feel the need to. If it doesn't align with their agenda, they may cut some of this funding. So none of this is really set in stone. Also, to take a note if you're deciding to just go all in on Apple. Make sure you do your research, y'all. You gotta be careful. Okay. It's gonna produce 600,000 wafers per year. You know, I'm not really too sure what that means. I'm not too sure what that looks like. The U.S. plant will be a small fraction of total capacity. Wow, they built 12 million wafers. Okay, even AMD plans to be a significant user. So we're going to assume that this wafer, if they can get this up, the company can be even more profitable. If they can get that up. So if they can produce more, if they can slave the people more, put the people in more danger, potentially things can go up. Okay. Intel also said they want to compete, so there might be some money on the table for Intel as well. Wait, so they're building factories in Arizona and Ohio? Okay, so they're building factories as well. Intel's in the game. I thought Intel was done. So Intel's still in the game. Okay. But their manufacturing abilities currently lag behind. So this was an opportunity for Intel to kind of step up their game. They're getting budgets. When you get a budget, you gotta blow it. So yeah, man, this is gonna be big for the U.S., but it also could be prices continuing to rise. I think that a lot of people forget there's a reason why a lot of the factories are outside the U.S. because the labor is cheaper. We wouldn't even fathom working for some of the prices that these people work overseas. I mean, listen, we're fighting for minimum wage at $15 in many states. You know, with some of these people in those other countries, they would probably kill people for that, 15 an hour. They're probably getting paid 90 cents an hour, $1 an hour. They're probably at $3 an hour. Let's see. Hourly, you can Google that again. Rate for factory workers. Let's go with China first. Y'all think life's so bad out here. The average pay factory worker a year and 27 wons an hour. Let's convert. American USD to won. One. Okay, 27. I know they ain't talking about $27 an hour. They getting paid 3.8, allegedly $3 an hour. Let's make sure I'm doing this right. I don't want to. 27 Chinese ones. Hey, y'all seeing this? This is how much they get paid. $3 an hour to be standing in a building with toxics. Man, I don't know. Let's do India. No, I ain't even got to go any further because this is you see why this is why factories are overseas. We're not. Ain't no what American is finna. We complaining about working for $7 an hour. These people are happy to work for $3 an hour. They probably think that that's an amazing job. They probably got great benefits. So, I mean, we're over here pushing for $15 an hour. Wages are currently rising as we speak. It's hard for me to not see prices going up. But that'll be good for the Apple company. So, I don't know. It's a gift and a curse, I guess. I mean, but they had to do it. They had to do it, y'all. I'm actually getting kind of hungry. Talking for a while. I'm trying to get this thing down. I want to see U.S. markets. Where we at with crypto? Where we at with the crypto? Let's go on Twitter. Go on Twitter. If you're interested in joining the Future Millionaires Discord chat, I do want to mention, make sure y'all hit me up above on my Twitter or Instagram. I will get y'all the details to join. I'm a little quiet in there, but it's all good. It's all good. The market's down. Sometimes there's not much to talk about when the market's down. I get it. Why does Tesla have a yellow check? What does that mean? That was smart of him. This account is verified. It's an official business on Twitter. Okay. Cool. Elon's being very quiet right now. Semiconductors is out though. Semiconductor look kind of fire. I ain't gonna cap. If I was in the trucking industry, I'm not finna cap. These are the type of stuff you honk at. I would honk if I seen this thing out on the road. Whoever invested in this, 180 a pop. Pepsi went and dropped a bag on 100 of these at 180 a pop. We'll see. We'll see though. I may come back on stream a little later. Oh, I forgot that I was even I forgot that I was recording. I just went on a rant, y'all. I forgot that I was recording. I'm gonna chop that up for the shorts. But yeah, make sure y'all look into Apple. I mean, it's good to know, especially with all this stuff going on, all the stuff coming in the future. I do appreciate everybody who tuned in. Calmly, thank you for asking questions. Shout out to everybody in the Discord chat. I'm finna pipe it up. I'm finna turn it up a little bit more this year or next year. I've been just trying to get the foundation straight here. I still don't have the full stream set up, but I'm finna get it together. We're finna have a stream board. I'm finna have multiple screens. Obviously, the more y'all support me, the more motivated I am to get all these things on point. You feel me? So, yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. I might be on later. I'm trying to stream a lot more now, so I might be on later. We'll see how it goes.